What's going on, everybody? Welcome to not only Hang 10, but also Beyond the Forecast.
Yeah, combination episode, a little collaboration this time because we had something special happen over the weekend.
Combination show today. We're excited for it. For those of you who usually tune into BTF, Behind the Forecast, Hang 10 is my surfing show. You can find on our CTV app. You can check it out every Monday, new episodes all the time, every week, 9 p.m. This one just happens to align for me and Jeff that we both got to enjoy something special this weekend. I forgot to change this. We're not talking about the local forecast today.
Oh, we can change that in a second here. I can talk if you want to change that.
Yeah, go for it.
So I can kind of let you type away. So local forecast. But what we do have, there we go. Hey, perfect. Now you can see just my name. What we also had this past weekend, though, what we're going to be talking about this episode, and Bryan, Michigan has a lot of footage of, is the past weekend waves that we had across the Outer Banks, across the East Coast, across Virginia Beach. We're going to go into the science and kind of the weather pattern behind that created this, and then also kind of talk about it. And I know Bryan Michigan's an expert more so on this than I am. The underground topography or bathymetry is the word I'm looking for, of the ocean and why Virginia Beach was a certain size, why the Outer Banks was a certain size. It's very fascinating. So we're just punching in a couple more things there.
There we go.
I like that. That's a good one right there.
Pumping OBX surf.
So it was huge on Saturday.
I think obviously it kind of depends on who you are as a surfer or bodyboarder or just your experience level in general. To some people, that might have not been that big. To others, like I feel like me and you, I can at least say, I mean, I've been surfing for years. There was some size out there that made me go, whoa, it's been a while since I've seen a wave like that.
Yes, it's been a very long time. I've only been able to be in waves that size twice. That was the second time.
Yeah.
So I admit I was pretty nervous paddling out. I saw what was out there, and I knew my abilities were fine, but I didn't know how the ocean was going to react that day and how it was going to feel, how difficult the paddle out was going to be, for example. What kind of waves were they going to be? Were they going to really slam down or were they not? And I want to talk to you more about that because I don't know how to describe those waves correctly.
I had a conversation out in the lineup about this very specific topic, actually. But yeah, for those tuning in, we're talking about the really good swell that hit our coastline this past weekend. It lined up perfectly with the weekend too.
Yes.
Because the last couple of swells have been, number one, the northeast wind's been an issue. But they've also lined up Monday to Friday timing and not so much Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
For the weekend warriors.
Yep.
This one was for the weekend warriors, and it's still going.
It's still going.
Jeff and I were looking at the Avon, North Carolina cam and just being like, if only we were unemployed.
Yeah. No, I'm okay. I'm fine. That's okay. I only went one day. I didn't go 2 days. I'm pretty wiped out and sore. And I wasn't even out there doing that much work, and I'm still wiped out.
Saturday was the day, though. I think most of us can agree.
Yep.
Saturday was the day. The swell was coming up throughout the day, too. I remember when I first got there, and it was still big when I first got there. Like, I remember texting you when I was checking, right when I got onto the Outer Banks. I checked in Kitty Hawk, one of the first streets that I turned down. And I texted Jeff, I go, it's huge. It's big. Like, there is, no other way to put it. You can also tell when it's bigger because way out the back, the lip kind of looks like it's breaking slowly. Yep. That's just because the lip is taking a longer time to hit the bottom. That's
what I've always used as my gauge when I look at the surf cameras. I'm like, how long does that take from the top of the wave to hit to the bottom?
Yeah.
And it felt like when I was watching, because I was rewinding the cameras.
It was slow motion, right?
And I was speeding them up, and then I went back to real time. I was like, this feels like slow-mo. Yeah. But it wasn't.
It was not.
It was actual speed.
It was good size. But the combination of meteorological factors here, we had a really large, low-pressure system out in the Atlantic, large system, too, huge wind field, huge amount of fetch, wind blowing over the water in a certain direction for a certain amount of distance. We had a ton of fetch just blowing this swell in. Not only that, we finally had offshore winds.
Right.
Finally. It was southwesterly. Probably
all day.
Saturday was 5 to 10 miles per hour. It was perfect.
It went side shore for 1 hour.
A little bit.
I don't know if you saw that.
It wasn't even that side shore, too. Like, it was side shore, but it wasn't strong.
It chopped it up a little bit, though.
It chopped it up a tiny bit, but to the point where, like, you still didn't. You still had that glassy-ish kind of feel. There
Yep.
was no bump on the face, really.
No.
It was pretty groomed the whole day, I would say. It was incredible. I remember, you know.
For those that didn't paddle out, what size would you say those waves were?
Okay, so you ask.
For Jeanette's Pier, where we were at.
If you ask someone from California and Hawaii, they'll give you a different answer. They'll say, bro, I was 1 to 2 foot. And I'm going to look at them like, you're crazy. I measure waves by the face of the wave.
Yes.
I would say I had waves that were 4 or 5 foot, but then I had a couple waves that were 6 to 8 foot. I'm a 6'4" individual. There were some waves where I was dropping in, and the GoPro doesn't do it justice. We have footage in just a second. I got a few of my waves on there. The GoPros do not do it justice. I was looking up at the lip of some of these waves.
Yeah.
And that's how big it was.
It was
And
huge.
Given, I was in, athletic stance, knees bent a little bit, bottom turning, but it was still a large wave.
I don't know the name of the specific event contest that was going on down there, but it was an 18-year and younger surf competition.
Team USA. It was something, I think, I could be totally wrong on this. I think they do a handful of stops per year. And at the end of the year, I guess kids with the most points or the best, best season qualify for the Team USA in their age bracket. That's what I think
there was
it
a couple,
seems like, but it was a USA USA surfing event.
There was some people that drove in. There were some locals that were there too. I recognize a few faces.
Shout out Story Martinez. She took down her division. She's a Sandbridge local, a Pungo local.
Excellent.
She was killing it.
That's great.
I remember hearing the heats call her name out while I was surfing, and I was like, Story Martinez, like she's from here. She's from around here.
Right.
I remember it was the Atlantic Park wave pool event that I last went to. She was in that event too. So I was just like, oh, there's Story Martinez, some local talent getting out there.
And the kids, I mean, these 18-year and younger kids, most of them were handling it just fine.
They were charging.
But it was also a little bit of luck that is always involved with surfing too. And in those heats, I've never surfed competition.
Oh, yeah.
But it's timed. I don't know how long the time is. What is it?
I believe it's 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay, 15, 20 minutes. So they have 15, 20 minutes. And while there were waves coming through consistently, I didn't have long waits.
Right.
The issue was that there were a couple of cleanup sets that came through that area.
Yeah, 100%.
So these kids were not far enough outside. The huge wave rolled in and basically broke way before where they were and cleaned it up.
Yeah, there were a couple.
Messed everyone up.
There were a couple wash-through sets. Ones that essentially would just clean up the entire lineup. Big white wall of white water rolling on in.
Right.
Like you said, it's for the competitors. It is luck. You can get during these kind of medium to longer period swells because the buoys were going 13 to 14-ish seconds. That's starting to get towards long period swell. You can get long lulls. So like if you get into that 20-minute block where there's just not a lot of surf coming in. You can be bummed. You can be bummed out. And, some heats are going to have constant waves.
Right.
It just depends on Mother Nature. But luckily for us free surfers, we were out there for hours and
there was no problem.
Fair share of surf.
Yes, fair share. And, and for me, when I paddled out, I took it slow at first because I said, okay, I made it outside. It's massive. And I've never been that deep in the ocean or that far away from the shore at Jeanette's.
Really?
I've never gone past the pier.
Oh, yeah, it was There were a couple sets breaking well past Jeanette's Pier.
Because you were on the south side of the pier.
I surfed both sides of the pier that day. And
I stayed just on the north side.
Both times, I was past the pier for a good amount of time.
Yep. Yeah. I never went inside the pier unless I was on a wave.
Yeah. We're gonna keep this conversation going, talking about some of the meteorological parts of this storm that provided the swell. And then after that, we'll get into some of that footage. So stick around. We'll be right back. Jeff, we scored.
It was fun.
We scored.
The direction of the swell, northeasterly swell, really changes based on where you are from Virginia Beach, from the north end all the way to, let's say, Cape Hatteras.
Yes.
And the change in this height of the waves I saw, now you said they were around head high Virginia Beach from the report that you got on Saturday.
Yeah, I was looking at rewind cam footage. There were some sets smaller than that. But yeah, for the most part, a northeasterly swell will, for Virginia Beach, really through, like, I'd say the Oregon Inlet, Rodanthe, we catch that swell really good.
Yep.
Just because it's coming in at more of a direct angle towards the beach. In Virginia Beach, if you have a swell that's too south, it's essentially those waves are moving parallel essentially to the coastline, and you're essentially sending swell right up towards the eastern shore, where it kind of the shape of that coastline, it faces a little more southeasterly at that point.
And then it can grab it.
Yes, it can grab the swell a little bit better. Northeast swells, if you've ever, because a lot of people think that, you know, if they're looking out at the ocean, they're looking directly east. Not exactly the case in Virginia Beach. You're kind of more looking northeast.
Yeah.
So you want those northeasterly, you want swell to be coming in more straight on towards the beach, because you won't have as much, other factors. Essentially, if you have a swell pushing in at a certain angle, you're going to lose a little bit of size. Each, every degree that you tick towards it being parallel to the beach, you're going to lose a little bit of size.
Okay.
Northeasterly swells are more perpendicular to the coastline for Virginia Beach, the northern Outer Banks, and that's kind of why these buoy readings that we saw were really verifying.
Yeah.
Really, we got every little bit of this 5.5 to 6.5 feet at 13 seconds. Did it hit? What did it hit at some point?
Well, we have the buoy charts up from last time.
Yeah, here we go.
Computer. So Cape Henry, that serves Virginia Beach. Nags Head, obviously Nags Head.
Wow, Nags Head went over 9 feet.
Yes, it did.
During the peak of that,
During the peak. So we're
storm.
really focused on that time between the 18th and the 19th,
Yes.
because that's the time when we're talking about here for when the surf was at its peak. And you can see the big difference between Virginia Beach coming in at around 4 to 4.5 at Cape Henry, which, remember, Cape Henry is not at the shore.
No, it's far out.
It's way far.
Really
Nags
far.
Head is actually closer to the beach. So it's a little bit better representation of what it was like on the shore. But Nags Head verified and came in at around 7 feet, which I had waves that were 7 and 8 feet that came through. I rode 2 of them, and it was incredible.
So why does Virginia Beach get smaller than the Outer Banks? Well, it's a couple of things. Bathymetry, we've talked about that word before on Hang 10. Shape of the coastline has a lot to do with it. More so, how far does the coastline stick out, and how close is it to the continental shelf? The continental shelf, you can almost think of it as a sponge. If you have
That's a good way. That's a good analogy.
If you have here's the coastline right here. Continental shelf is here. This whole distance, that's shallower water as you get closer. You're kind of taking away the energy of the incoming swell. This is why California gets so much bigger more consistently than the East Coast. The West Coast gets bigger so much more. Because the continental shelf is pretty much right up against the shoreline. You don't have to go as far out to hit the continental shelf on the West Coast. On the East Coast, you sometimes have to go 200, 300, 400 miles out. I know in New Jersey, we have this feature called the Hudson Canyon, and that helps to kind of focus and magnify swell in certain areas. Without the Hudson Canyon, New Jersey would be much different. It would be a much smaller surf area because the continental shelf is so far out. Hatteras pretty much almost touches. You go 50 to 100 miles offshore, you're already hitting the continental shelf.
Yes.
So we are much more exposed to not only a wide range in swell directions, being on the for areas in the Outer Banks, they can catch swell, south swell, northeast swell, pretty much you name it, they can catch it. Anything with an easterly direction in it, they can pretty much catch. Even just straight south or straight north, they can catch. So that's another aspect. Nags Head sticks out further than Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach, if you kind of think about it, when the Atlantic Ocean and the Chesapeake meet, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like a C shape.
Yep.
And Virginia Beach is on the inside of what I would like to say is the catcher's mitt.
Yep.
So as swell is moving in, it's going to be focused and attracted to the points, Cape Hatteras or Ocean City, Maryland, and Chincoteague area.
Okay.
Believe it or not. Hidden gem up there is Chincoteague, Assateague Beach.
But then Virginia Beach inside.
Virginia Beach is inside, so it takes a little bit longer. It's shallower water because, for a longer distance, because being on the inside of that catcher's mitt, you are further away from the continental shelf.
The waves have more sponge to travel over.
More sponge to travel over, weakening the swell over time. So that's why it's always going to be smaller than Virginia Beach.
And it's shown right there.
It's apparent on the buoys. Nags Head, Saturday, 7, 8 feet on the buoys at 13 to 14 seconds. What about Cape Henry? We have about 4 feet. 4.5, 5, maybe 4 to 5 feet.
The largest Cape Henry gets isn't even as large as it was on Saturday in Nags Head.
Exactly.
And even though Cape Henry and Virginia Beach were closer to the storm in just terms of raw distance, it really doesn't matter. It's all about the bathymetry of the sea floor.
Yes, it's a more drastic change over a certain distance along the Outer Banks. If you go out, if you start, swimming out, you're going to encounter deeper water much quicker than if you were to just swim out off the coastline in Virginia Beach.
Yep.
And that's just the island that, the Outer Banks sticks out more deeper into the ocean. The continental shelf is much closer. You're going to have much more surf, much more energized surf too. I don't know if you noticed this, duck diving some of those waves, you were getting thrown around. Much more power.
I was okay.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't get thrown back too hard.
I was getting ragdolled on a couple.
I was getting pulled outside when I was sitting there waiting for the waves, but I didn't get ragdolled too bad.
Right.
I think I got really lucky that day. I did not have it wasn't a lot of work for me. I never got stuck inside.
I had a few beat-downs.
I never, never saw a yard sale or anything with people flying everywhere with boards flying through the air.
I did see two guys snap their leash.
Ooh.
Yeah. Those were long swims for those guys.
Yeah, well, I saw one guy without a leash at all.
That's dangerous.
I couldn't believe it.
You can't be doing that on days like that, where you have a lot of surfers at number one. Number two, big waves, a lot of power. Your board gets thrown into another surfer. You can really hurt somebody on a day like that.
Or you could get yourself in a position where you may not have anything to float on.
Exactly.
Your board goes shooting one way and the current's going to keep you pulled the other way.
Yeah. We're going to come back after this next break, show you some footage. We'll break it down. But yeah, that's pretty much the science behind this storm. It was a combination of factors. Number one, the storm being huge. Bathymetry, deeper water helps to have bigger, more consistent surf. And the Outer Banks just stick out more. They can just, they reach out and catch those waves way more than Virginia Beach.
It happens a little bit, one quick thing, it happens a little bit more dramatically with northeasterly swells than it does with east-southeasterly swells from Virginia Beach to the Outer Banks.
Yes.
Fascinating stuff. We're going to keep that conversation going, though, and we're going to look at some video. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, stick around. How magical is the Outer Banks?
It's like it's going on a vacation when I go down there. It's unbelievable because the water feels a little different. It looks a little different. The vibe is great. I mean, I love Virginia Beach. I love Sandbridge and Pendleton, Croatan areas. Great spot, but that's our backyard. But it's nice being able to go to the Outer Banks. And also the people I was with. One guy was from Raleigh. Another guy came from Surf City. So
guys were coming from all over.
They were coming from all over to go to Jeanette's Pier that day or to whatever local break they wanted to. And it was real, and everyone was in a great mood.
Oh, stoked. Everybody was frothing out of their minds.
Yeah, and everyone was cheering each other on, sharing waves, calling it out. There was no competitiveness in my area. It was awesome.
It felt like a really good surf trip.
Yes.
Like you go to the Outer Banks and you are going to score. There was no animosity. There was no button heads in the lineup. Everybody was stoked. Because here's the thing with the Outer Banks, too. There's so many sandbars. You can surf any sandbar on that coastline. Not everybody needs to be on top of each other. And I think everybody was pretty nicely spaced out. I had no problem catching waves with, multiple people. Everybody got the waves that they really wanted. So with that, we're going to get to some of this footage and we're going to talk over it. Also, you can kind of notice in that first clip, water came up high during high tide the last couple of days.
If you had stuff stored on the beach like a pair of sandals or a bag, you would have lost it in the ocean.
Done for.
Look at this.
And I know this, look at this shot. This is how clean it was. Offshore perfection. Sick little barrel there.
Wow.
I'm
going to say one thing here. GoPro does not do justice to how big that wave is. That looks like a 3-foot wave.
I know. It looks
and
small.
that was 8 feet. So if you're standing in a room, look at the ceiling when you're standing up at where the ceiling is. That's probably where the top of the wave was.
For some of those sets, definitely. This was another one breaking outside. This wave actually shows, here's why it was actually pretty inviting despite the size. It wasn't breaking top to bottom. It was breaking more so midway down the lip.
That's my question. So these were not like slamming down.
No, this was not like a big barrel day. It was more of a turn day.
It was great because I would say even though the size was for the experienced, it allowed those who have experience with this that haven't been in waves this size in a long time.
Yeah.
You couldn't put yourself in a really bad position quickly.
Right. You didn't.
You get rolled around, and that's it. You're not going to get slammed out of these
No,
things.
this wasn't a big top to bottom breaking day. Now, there were a couple barrels out there, but for the most part, they were these really gentle sloping waves.
Oh, I can see the size right there.
Yeah,
I can tell.
That one had a little bit of size on the top. But they had, nice shoulders to them. You can get a couple of turns off.
Ooh, look look how wide his turns are. That shows you how big the wave is.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing a turn where you're quickly, you were doing it for a second or two. Look at this.
This clip
you're
is
swooping
great.
down.
Hold on, this clip I kicked out. This Grom went on this wave behind me. This is a better, depiction of some of the size. This kid got worked. Watch this.
Look how big it is.
Bottom turn, wipe out right in the lip.
Oh, wow.
And he came up, and we had a moment after we were both laughing. He was like, I almost got shacked. And he was so stoked. Yeah, a couple cleanup sets, that being one of them. You would, duck dive and instantly get ragdolled.
You could feel it pulling you back a little bit.
You definitely felt
Yeah.
it. And, you were just crossing your fingers that there were no waves behind it.
Oh, you had a nice open spot. See, I had a few more people in my area, but we were not on top of each other. It was just like this. Any wave that you wanted.
It was really quick. A couple of these rides, I will say, were pretty quick. It was very peaky. You get 1 or 2 turns and then you're done. But then, like the wave I had before, I had 4 turns. So it just kind of depended on how it kind of was catching the sandbar. This one, I think. Was this one a good one? No, I had to get around that one. And then I looked up at the lip and I was like, uh-oh. And I had to straighten out and I got worked.
I liked the quickness of it to the fact that the paddle out was a little difficult.
Yes, it was a little difficult.
So I kind of chose to make sure they were quick so I would not have to work that paddle out again.
I think I fell on this turn. Yeah, I fell. I ate it. Blew that.
Yeah, fell back.
But this turn was cool. I wanted to slow this one down. Big open face. It felt so good to engage my rail and just slide the fins a little bit on some proper surf. This was probably, I think, my best right. Yeah, no, this was such a fun day. Getting to just actually dig my fins into the waves and just have fun. It was awesome.
Look at that.
It was so awesome.
Oh, I see it closed out in front of you there.
Closed down in front of me.
Yeah.
Threw a little shaka, and then I took a couple of clips here at the end just to show, from the beach angle, because it's a different perspective.
Yeah, I remember I stopped when I was trying to figure out how far I was away from home. I was like, oh wait, I got to figure out what's going on here. And I said, hey, make sure you get some clips of the beach just so we can see it. So that's as far as the pier right there.
Yes.
That was the end of the pier, and that's where the waves pretty much were. This is the north side pier. So this is beyond the pier. Look at that.
There's I think the next wave, I think it was a Grom, but he got a really good wave. And then the clip after that is a really good shot of a bomb hitting the end of the pier. I have a great one here. I think this is the good one, or maybe it's the next one. It might be it's the next one. But like you could see here, like those are some really nice looking. Now that one was a closeout. That one,
closed
you
out.
definitely wouldn't be surfing. This one was a really good one. Look at this guy.
Oh, look at this left.
Locked in on one of the best lefts. So actually, no, it is the next one. This guy got a not too bad one. Couple turns there. This guy got a great one. Watch this one.
So this is all one clip.
Back.
You didn't edit. You didn't chop this up.
Nope.
It was just nonstop. Oh, that's big.
Big bottom turn into the lip. Great one there. We've only got about a minute left, a little bit under. But look at that one. Hitting the end.
It hits the end, boom. And then the people fishing, the anglers would get wet.
Yeah, they got all soaked.
That shows you how these things were huge.
It was big. Look at this one.
Look at that.
And when way outside.
Did you hear it slap the pier?
It would sound like a thunderclap.
Yeah, it did.
That's what I
thought someone's board snapped against the pier, but it was just the.
It was just the impact, right?
It was unbelievable. We all turned and looked like, what just happened?
I think everybody can tell that we haven't had waves like this in a while.
It was fun.
Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Hang 10 and beyond the forecast. Hopefully we can do this more in the future. Obviously, we need some waves for that, so we're to keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, we do.
A great example here, this storm, well offshore, just sending us the waves, and that's what we like to see. So with that, we'll see you all tomorrow.